What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am Jason Courier from the Steve and Jay Show, and this is our weekly Ring of Honor review and reaction show. Tonight I will be reviewing and reacting to Ring of Honor episode number 321, which aired on November the 13th, 2017. If you could please click the subscribe button down below, and don't forget to click that notification bell to receive notification when we post our new stuff. Tonight was the second of the Philadelphia recordings that they've shown on Ring of Honor TV. Ian Riccaboni and Colt Cabana were on commentary as usual. The night itself started out with a promo. They replayed the promo from last week when Dalton Castle made his surprise appearance with Cody in the ring. Cody earlier before his match had said that Dalton Castle was not in the building, which of course Dalton Castle was. He was standing at the top of the ramp. And Cody, this was the promo where Cody was telling Dalton, he says, look, with my lineage and my connections, I can make a few phone calls and I can get you one of those developmental contracts, just like your boys. So, and he says to Dalton, he says, look, I can tell by looking in your eyes that this is something that you want, so I'm just going to walk past you and you need to think about it. He gets about to the top of the ramp and Dalton Castle chases him down, attacks him from behind, bounces him off of one barrier to the next, and then throws him into the ring. He lands the bangarang in the middle of the ring, grabs the mic, and tells Cody, he says, you know what, I thought about it, and I love it here too much, so I'm going to go ahead and stay. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to take your title off of you too. Super cool moment. The moment that people have been waiting for. Super cool. I can't wait for this match. It's going to be fun. The first actual match of the evening took place between Punishment Martinez and Josh the Goods Woods. And what this was is it was a qualification match for the four-corner elimination match that was to take place on or at Final Battle. So Punishment Martinez would be taking on Josh Woods, Cheeseburger would be taking on Shane Taylor, and Jonathan Gresham will be taking on Silas Young to fill 3 of the 4 spots. The 4th spot, from what I understand, is going to go to the current television champion. Of course, at the time, it is Kenny King. I kind of personally think that with that, I would rather see Cheeseburger and Gresham fight for one of the 4 spots. Just because I think that their dynamic would be fun in a 4-corner elimination match. I think that while they all bring something different to the table, I think that Silas Young, Shane Taylor, and Punishment Martinez are kind of similar in terms of entertainment and in terms of their style. I just think I really like Gresham. He's super fun to watch, and who doesn't like Cheeseburger? Who doesn't like the underdog? So it looks like they're setting it up for Silas Young, Shane Taylor, Punishment Martinez, and whomever the current television champion is to be the participants in the 4-corner elimination match. But I suppose you never know. There could be an upset in there. It is Ring of Honor. You never know. So the match itself between Josh Woods and Punishment Martinez starts out with the classic lockup. Early on, they kind of showed that Punishment Martinez was maybe going to be in for a little bit more of a fight than people had thought. Obviously, Punishment was the favorite in this match. But as I said, as it started out, Josh Woods was giving Martinez a little bit of an offense. It looked like, again, Martinez was going to be in for a little bit more of a fight. Punishment Martinez, though, takes over the match early on with a Josh Woods Irish whips him into the ropes, and Martinez reverses it by landing a springboard senton, which Ian Riccaboni made mention that this is a 6'7" man doing this. This isn't. It's not like we're watching a cruiserweight flip around the ring here. This is a big dude, and he moves around really well in that ring. He's super fun to watch. Super, super fun. They then cut to break. They come back from break, and Josh Woods has the edge on Punishment Martinez. He's got him locked into a sleeper hold, and Punishment, I believe, was on one knee. He's down in front of Josh Woods. He may have even been on two knees. Anyway, he's down in front of Josh Woods. Josh Woods then transitions the classic sleeper hold into a dragon sleeper. Punishment Martinez, though, then reverses that and looks like he is going to just suplex Josh Woods. He, though, pauses at the top of the suplex and does a throwing Falcon Arrow. He threw Josh Woods pretty far. Josh Woods is a big dude, and Punishment Martinez, I'm not saying he threw him halfway across the ring or anything, but he threw him pretty good. He threw him halfway across the ring. It was awesome. Both these guys are super fun to watch. Anyway. Josh Woods then gets off a little bit more offense of his own. He lands a belly-to-belly and kind of takes over the match. As he is on the attack, he attempts some sort of a springboard. I believe it was a punch, but Punishment Martinez literally grabs the fist of Josh Woods. He delivers a super kick and then a pretty brutal clothesline to Josh Woods. Then Punishment Martinez goes to the top rope and he lands a spinning super kick from the top rope. Again, super cool to see such a big guy move around like that in the ring. It's fun stuff, man. Punishment Martinez then goes to finish off Josh Woods and get the choke slam. But Josh Woods manages to reverse the choke slam, and in a very Josh Woodsy kind of a way, he locks in an armbar, but he does it in a cool way. He, again, reverses the choke slam and kind of slides over the back of Punishment Martinez, locks in the armbar. Super cool stuff. There is a little bit more back and forth then. Josh Woods gets Punishment Martinez into a suplex position, but gives him a quick knee to the jaw before giving him the suplex. Punishment Martinez does the ear clap thing to Josh Woods. At that point, then, he grabs Josh Woods by the neck again, attempts to do a second choke slam. This time, he manages to land the Sound of Heaven choke slam on Josh Woods, and ding, 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 ring the bell. Punishment Martinez beats Josh the Goods Woods to earn the first spot in the four-corner elimination match. I guess technically it would be the second spot because the first spot would be going to the television champion, whomever he may happen to be. So big win for Punishment. He gets into the four-corner elimination match, so he's got a shot at the television title at Final Battle. Super cool. Loves me some Punishment Martinez. Mark Briscoe then cut a promo, and he's backstage shouting about how he doesn't understand why people are telling him not to wrestle, that his elbows hurt, but he earned this title shot, and he wants it, and he wants it tonight. Jay Briscoe then comes walking onto scene and says, you know how I feel about all this. You know I may not agree with it, but it is Briscoe Brothers, and I want to be in your corner tonight. Mark Briscoe says, you want to be my manager, you want to be in my corner. That's all I've ever asked for is a little bit of support. This is great. So Jay Briscoe will be in the corner of his little brother for his television championship match that he probably shouldn't be in because his elbow got jacked up. There is then a rather lengthy in-ring promo by Jay Lethal. He comes out in street clothes, and he says, it's frustrating because every time I proclaim that I am going after my next reign as Ring of Honor World Champion, something happens and I seem to get distracted. He says that there's only one thing left for him to do, and that is, of course, become the next Ring of Honor World Champion. He says to Cody, look, you haven't been here for that long, so the list of superstars that have beaten you isn't that long. He says, but right at the top of the list is my name. As he's saying that, the lights cut out, and Marty Scurll's music hits up on the Teletron. His video starts. Everybody's super excited. Super awesome because Marty's awesome. Marty comes out in streets. He actually came out in a suit and carrying the umbrella. He says to Jay Lethal, he says, allow me to introduce myself. He says, I am the villain. Super cool. He says to Jay Lethal, he says, truth is, I actually kind of like you. He says that, let me tell you about goals. He says, I wanted to fight the best wrestlers in the world when I came here, and Jay Lethal, you were one of them. He says, but you're not that Jay Lethal anymore. You're not the Jay Lethal of old. He says, the Jay Lethal that I wanted to fight was Jay Lethal that wasn't afraid to cut a few corners. The Jay Lethal that I wanted to fight is the Jay Lethal that's not afraid to grab some tights and put his feet up on the ropes to gain a little bit of advantage. He says that Jay Lethal, he said, you want to be the franchise so bad, he says, you may as well go around kissing babies and eating vitamins. Yeah, Marty was on one tonight. He was in rare form tonight. He laid out some pretty nice little shots to Jay. Jay had some back, but Marty was in rare form tonight. Marty said, again, he says, I wanted to face the Jay Lethal that wasn't afraid to bend the rules. He said, I wanted to face the Jay Lethal that was ruthless. And he says, I could even describe that Jay Lethal as a little bit villainous. Jay Lethal then interrupts. And he says, look, I know what you're doing here. You're trying to draw some sort of a comparison between you and I in saying that I can be villainous as well, as if we're somehow on the same level or similar. He says, but I'm the greatest wrestler in the world, and when I did those things, I did them because I wanted to, and when you do them, though, you do them because you have to. Ouch. So, crowd kind of groans a little bit. Marty, again, rare form, and he's awesome on the mic anyway, but Marty says to Jay, he says, really? You don't want to be that guy? Because that guy was the television champion at the same time that he was Ring of Honor World Champion. So you don't want to be that guy? And he says, you don't want to be that guy anymore? Well, why not, kind of thing. It kind of worked for you, basically. And he says, at this point, you may as well put on that clown costume with the tassels and go with that bit, because at least that was entertaining. He laid him out pretty good. Marty then points to the crowd, and he says, look around. He says, all I see is Villain Club t-shirt. And he says, stand up, guys. So those wearing the Marty Scurll shirts stood up. And he says, look around. He says, where are the Jay Lethal shirts? Again, Marty putting the hammer to Jay Lethal. He says to Jay, he says, you and I both know that money talks, and Ring of Honor has allowed me to handpick my opponent for Final Battle. He says to Jay, he says, Jay Lethal, look, it doesn't take a genius. I am challenging you, Jay Lethal. And Jay Lethal then responds by saying, look, I'm not going to drag this out. I accept your challenge. He says, I'm not going to make you wait till next week. He says, I accept your frickin' challenge. He says, and you better be careful, Marty, he says, because at Final Battle, I might just be that badass that you were talking about. And matter of fact, I might even teach you a few things. So he's going to teach the villain how to be villainous, apparently. Should be a good match. Should be super good match. I really dig Marty Scurll. I think Jay Lethal is super fun himself. Obviously he's a stud. He's awesome. So should be a really, really good match. That's one I'm actually really looking forward to. The Bullet Club then cut a promo. It was a backstage promo. Cody, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, and Marty Scurll were all there. And Cody starts out by talking about Dalton Castle, and Hangman kind of interrupts, and he says, look, Dalton, your boys are gone forever, so you're never going to sniff these again. And he pats the 6-man tag title, and he says, you're never going to kiss the ring. He says, and because you're going to fall victim to my big ol', and everybody goes, whoa, 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 whoa. And Matt Jackson says, now, Hangman, you were going to say your big old rope, right? And oh, yeah, my big rope. So everybody goes, oh, okay, yeah, there's big rope. So Hangman Page tells Dalton Castle, look, you're not going to make it to Final Battle because you're not going to get through me, kind of thing. Which in that they said that, I'm assuming that they had said earlier or later on in the evening that when the Jay Lethal and Marty Scurll match was made official, that was the first official match of Final Battle. But then Hangman Page is telling Dalton Castle that he's not going to get to Cody and not going to get to Final Battle because he's not going to get through him. So I'm thinking that maybe another match at Final Battle is going to be Cody against Dalton Castle. I'm thinking. In putting those pieces together, that's what I'm getting. The next match of the evening was the television championship match that Mark Briscoe had earned. So Mark Briscoe taking on Kenny King. They introduced Mark. Of course, he has his brother with him at ringside. He's got a pretty good sized cast. It was like from wrist to armpit on that elbow that he had dislocated. As the match is getting going, the Kenny King and Mark Briscoe were kind of doing the pre-lockup dance around each other around the ring. And before they can lock up, Jay Briscoe from the outside of the ring throws in a big white towel. So ding, 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 ring the bell. Ref calls for the bell, says that due to Jay Briscoe throwing in the towel, this match was over. Before it starts, this match is over. Mark Briscoe goes absolute ape-s crazy. He just goes nuts on his brother. He throws the towel in his brother's face from the ring. He gets out of the ring and gets into his brother's face, doing the what in the heck are you doing? What's wrong with you kind of thing. And Jay Briscoe just literally turns and he just walks away. As Jay Briscoe walks away, Punishment Martinez comes rushing in from the crowd and attacks Kenny King from behind. He hits one of his super cool spinning kicks on Kenny King. Shane Taylor then comes rushing into the ring and he's attacking Punishment Martinez. Jonathan Grisham then comes rushing into the ring and literally climbs up Punishment Martinez and is attacking him, kind of trying to hold on, basically. Silas Young then charges in, and of course, Cheeseburger then comes charging in. So everything's going crazy. They're outside of the ring. Fans are going nuts. They're chanting for Cheeseburger. Everybody's kind of outside the ring, and Kenny King is left as the only man in the ring. At that point, he lands a super cool spinning slingshot splash suicide dive thing to the outside of the ring, from inside the ring to the outside onto the pile of people that were out there now. So that's the craziness that match ended in. It was not the match. I actually thought they were going to let Mark wrestle, but obviously that wasn't very realistic. But it was fun the way it ended. I'm kind of curious to see how long Mark's going to be out, number one. And two, I'm a little nervous as far as what they're going to do with the Briscoe brothers. I've said this before. If the Hardys can fight, I guess the Briscoes can fight. But I would really rather not see Mark Briscoe against Jay Briscoe. Why can't we all just get along? On to the next segment. Coleman's Pulpit was up next, and his guest was Shane Taylor. Right at the beginning of the interview, he mentioned to Shane Taylor about how he being Shane, is looking a little more fit and trim these days, and they said that Shane Taylor's actually lost 100 pounds, which is pretty amazing. He moves around pretty well for a big guy, so I'm kind of curious to see him in the ring now. I bet he moves around even better, so can't wait to see it. Coleman at one point asks Shane why he's so violent. He says to Shane, responds, "Why am I violent? I've always been violent." He says, "I'm just not going to sit around and wait for my opportunity anymore." Coleman says then, "Well, would you consider yourself to be a hitman?" Shane says that QT Marshall didn't have a Ring of Honor contract and he needed some dirty work done. So he said it doesn't take a genius to figure out that I was paid handsomely for doing his dirty work. So Coleman says, "Well, I guess you are a hitman then. Do you feel like that's the honorable thing to do, kind of thing?" And Shane says, "Look, I've got a 3-year-old daughter that I need to watch after, and I'll do what I have to do to provide for her," basically. And he said he even threw a little shot at Nick and Matt Jackson. He says I can do it two ways. He says I could be the Young Bucks and beg everybody to buy my merchandise every week, or I can come out here and pound some heads and get some extra cash that way, basically. And so a little bit of a shot there to the Young Bucks. The next match of the evening was the main event, and it was to determine the new number one contender for the Tag Team Championship, with Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin on commentary for this one. They joined Ian Riccaboni in the booth. So the match itself was between the Best Friends, Chucky T and Trent Beretta, and the Addiction, Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. The match itself started out with Christopher Daniels and Trent Beretta in the ring as they're doing the pre-lockup dance thing and kind of filling each other out. Frankie Kazarian attacks Beretta from behind. Chucky T then comes in to play rescuer and catches a bit of heat himself. Chucky T and Trent Beretta eventually manage to get the edge, and they do some pretty fun little double team work to Christopher Daniels. They kind of set up for the big bro hug in the middle of the ring, and as they charge to each other to lay the hug on each other, Frankie Kazarian comes in and he breaks that up. There is then some more pretty cool double teamwork by best friends who really put on a good show. I really like Chucky T and his humor that he brings to it, and just good stuff. He's a good wrestler. He's fun. He does some cool stuff. He, like I said, he kind of plays the comedy angle, which I dig that. There's a cool little double team by best friends. Chuck Taylor goes to the top rope as Trent Beretta holds up Christopher Daniels, and there's kind of a stomp from the top rope onto Christopher Daniels by Chucky T, and then a slam, suplex type slam by Trent Beretta. Super fun little double team work. The Kingdom then make their way to the top of the ramp, and I thought that they were going to get a little bit more involved in this match, but they just kind of sat up there in their chairs and they had some snacks and they were watching some wrestling just like the rest of us. So the Kingdom were checking out the match, doing a little scouting, I guess. Frankie Kazarian then landed from in-ring to out-of-ring. He landed a Hurricane Rana that was pretty damn awesome. And I believe it was either Alex Shelley or Chris Sabin, I couldn't tell their voices apart, said something about Frankie being in the best shape of his life and looking lean and mean out there. And he looked pretty lean and mean out there. He's a hell of a wrestler. The Addiction then get Trent Beretta kind of stuck in the wrong corner at that point. They start an assault on Trent, do a lot of the quick tag thing and a bunch of double team work. And they're really, really working on Trent Beretta. There is some really cool double team work by the Addiction that's kind of capped off by Christopher Daniels delivering a springboard moonsault. Super cool stuff. The stuff the Addiction do, their double team work is really cool. Their chemistry that they've got is ridiculously good. They've been doing it together forever, and you can tell they just do good work. Christopher Daniels then has the super arrogant pin attempt on Trent Beretta, puts the foot on the chest, which Beretta just kind of knocks off. Christopher Daniels then turns to the corner where Chuck Taylor is and spits on Chuck Taylor, and it was like a big, you could see the spray. He spit on him. It was a good one. It's disgusting, but I've got a bit of a thing for the spitting. I don't like it. Don't like it. I would be disgusted if I was ever at an event and the wrestler spit on me. Anyway, it's gross. Trent Beretta then finally turns the tide a little bit and lands a big clothesline and manages to get the hot tag to Chuck Taylor, who comes in, and he's the House of Fire, and he's cleaning house. He's knocking guys out of the ring, knocking guys around the ring. He's on fire. There is a really cool Falcon Arrow then by Chucky T on Christopher Daniels. He goes for the pin on Daniels, and as he's pinning him, he turns to the camera and he gives the big thumbs up and the super cheesy grin. Again, that's his kind of little humorous angle that he plays. It's just good stuff. I really dig Chuck Taylor. The Addiction then eventually get the edge on Chuck Taylor. They do their move where they Irish whip their opponent and then kind of do a double hip toss type maneuver and hold their opponent upside down. And then Christopher Daniels delivers a cutter. I don't know what it's called, but it's super cool. This is second or third time I've seen them do it. Again, their work that they do, their double team stuff is just really, really cool stuff. Best Friends then kind of get the advantage back, and they've got the Addiction in opposite corners, so they're doing the crisscross splash into the corner thing. After they crisscross a couple of times, I believe it was on the third time that they crisscrossed, they meet each other in the middle of the ring and get the big bro hug. So they're standing in middle of the ring, hugging the heck out of each other. Best Friends then turn to Christopher Daniels, and they grab him by the throat, both of them. They're going to try to do a double choke slam, which Kaz then comes in and breaks up. Things kind of get a little bit crazy. At that point, there's a little bit of a flurry going on as far as both teams giving each other some offense. There's a pretty cool slingshot DDT on Frankie Kazarian by Chucky T. There is a cool tornado DDT then by Trent Beretta on Kaz as well. Beretta then does a somersault flip over the top rope, suicide dive type flip over the top rope to the outside, and I believe lands on Christopher Daniels. Or no, it was he hit Kaz with that. Because as he was doing that, Christopher Daniels was off getting a chair. So as Christopher Daniels is going into the ring with the chair, War Machine come rushing to ringside, and they grab the chair. I believe Hansen grabbed the chair, and Raymond Rowe hit Christopher Daniels. Chuck Taylor then grabs a distracted Christopher Daniels, and he lands the Awful Waffle Pile Driver, which super awesome name and super cool move. It's fun move. I believe it's Kenny Omega's move too. But anyway, super awesome. Raymond Rowe is standing at ringside. He's yelling, "This ain't over." Chuck Taylor pins Christopher Daniels, and ding, 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 ring the bell. Best Friends win over the Addiction and are now the new #1 contender for Motor City Machine Guns Tag Team title. I would imagine that we're going to see the Addiction against War Machine. Yay. That should be awesome. I can't wait for that one. Any match that involves War Machine is going to be a good one, and the Addiction are freaking awesome. So that should be just a great match. I hope that one happens. And Motor City Machine Guns against Best Friends, that should be a fun one too. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin do fun stuff themselves. Trent Beretta and the Kentucky Gentlemen are super fun to watch as well. So should be good stuff coming up for the tag team division in Ring of Honor. Lots of fun stuff to look forward to. They do their tag team division right, and love the 6-man tag. Anyway, so that was the show this week. Thank you guys for listening. I very much appreciate it. I tried to keep it a little bit shorter this week. Last week and the week before, I do believe that my reviews were longer than the actual show itself. So I tried to shorten things up a little bit this week. I'm about 10 minutes shorter, I think. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. I very much appreciate it. If you could please click subscribe down below, and don't forget to click that notification bell. It's very helpful, please. You can find us on Facebook. Just look for Stephen J. Show. You can search for Jason A. Mark and find us there. I believe you can search for Near Fall News as well and find us there. StephenJShow.com is hopefully coming soon. We're still working on the website still. Anyway, you can shoot us an email, the Stephen J Show at gmail.com. Facebook seems to be probably the spot where we get most of our interaction with people. So anyway, find us. Thank you for listening. Love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. Have a good night.